What would you do if you suddenly had $1,000 sitting in your bank account? Would you spend it, put it in savings, pay off debt, or would you invest it? And if you never invested before, you might be thinking, where do I even start? Should you buy stocks, Bitcoin, an ETF? Should you wait for the market to crash? And what if you lose the money? Well, if you're asking those questions, you're actually in the right place, because today I'm going to walk you through exactly how I would think about investing the first $1,000 if I was starting from scratch. We're going to keep things extremely simple here. No complicated Wall Street terminology, not trying to find the next stock that's going to explode, and no pretending there's a magic investment that will make you rich overnight. I'm Jay, and I'm the Finance Ninja. If you're trying to get better with money, build wealth, and understand investing without all the confusing financial jargon, subscribe to the channel, because that's exactly what we're doing here. Let's get started. So step one, don't invest the $1,000 just yet. Here's something that might surprise you. If you have $1,000, I don't necessarily want you to invest it. And that's because investing should come after you have taken care of some financial basics. Let's say you have $1,000, but you also have $5,000 sitting on a credit card charging you a high interest rate. Putting that $1,000 into the stock market probably isn't the best thing I'd consider. Why? Because high interest debt can work against you extremely quickly. Think about it. Your investments might average a certain return over a long period, but credit card interest can be extremely expensive. So before investing, ask yourself 3 questions. Number 1, do I have high interest debt? Number 2, do I have at least some emergency savings? And number 3, am I going to need this $1,000 in the near future? If the answer to that last question is yes, don't put money you need next month into investments that can fluctuate in value. Investing is generally a long-term game. So step 2, understand what investing actually means. So let's assume you've got your financial foundation under control. Now what? Before you invest your first dollar, you need to understand something very important. When you buy a stock, you're buying a small ownership interest in a company. When you buy an ETF, you're buying a basket of investments that can contain many different companies or assets. And this is where beginners sometimes make their first mistake. They think, I have $1,000. I need to find the one stock that's going to turn my $1,000 into $10,000. That's not investing. That's speculation. Could you get lucky? Absolutely. But you could also lose a significant amount of your money. And when you're just starting out, you don't need to swing for the fences. Your first goal should be learning how to consistently build wealth. Step 3, consider a broad index fund or ETF. For beginners who want diversification, one option worth learning about is a broad market index fund or ETF. Instead of trying to pick one company, you're spreading your investments across many companies. For example, an S&P 500 index fund is designed to track an index representing large US companies. So instead of asking which company is going to win, you're essentially saying, I want exposure to a broad group of major companies. That's a completely different approach. You don't have to spend your entire weekend reading earnings reports, which is boring. You also don't have to figure out which CEO is going to make the next big decision. And you don't have to constantly watch the stock market. Now, this doesn't mean index funds are risk-free. They're not. The value can go down. Markets crash, recessions happen, companies struggle. That's just part of investing. But diversification can reduce the risk of having your entire investment depend on one company. And remember, diversification doesn't guarantee profits or eliminate losses. It simply spreads your exposure. So let's go on to step 4. Where should you invest? Now we get to another important question. Where do you actually put the money? You generally need an investment account. So depending on your situation, that could include accounts such as a 401k through your employer, an IRA, including a Roth IRA if you are eligible, or a regular taxable brokerage account. If your employer offers a 401k match, that's something you definitely want to understand. Because in some situations, your employer may contribute money based on how much you contribute. That's essentially part of your compensation. And if you're eligible for a Roth IRA, that's another account many people use for long-term retirement investing. The important thing here is the account and the investment are two different things. Think of the account as a container. The investments are what's inside of that container. You could have a Roth IRA, but that doesn't automatically mean your money is invested. You still need to choose investments within the account. That's an important distinction for beginners. Now we're going to move on to step 5. What would I do with the $1,000? So let's bring everything together. Let's say I've got $1,000, I've got no high interest debt, I have some emergency savings, and I don't need this money anytime soon. What would I do? I'd focus on simplicity and diversification. Rather than trying to find the hottest stock, I'd research a diversified low-cost index fund or ETF that matches my goals and risk tolerance. And then I'd think beyond the initial $1,000. Because here's the real secret. The first $1,000 isn't what makes you wealthy, it's the habit you build after reaching that $1,000. Imagine you invest your first $1,000 and then you continue investing $100 every month. Then eventually maybe it's $200, then $300, then $500. That's where things start getting interesting. Your goal isn't necessarily to become rich from one investment. Your goal is to create a system where your money keeps getting added to your investments over time. And this is where our previous video on compound interest comes into play. Because the earlier you start, the more time your money has to potentially grow. All right, let's move on to step number 6. Don't panic when the market drops. And this is extremely important. Let's talk about something nobody likes talking about. Your investment will probably go down at some point. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe not next month, but if you're investing for decades, you're going to experience market declines. And this is where a lot of beginners make a huge mistake. They see negative $100 and panic. They sell, then the market eventually recovers and they buy back at a higher price. Now they're essentially turned a temporary decline into a permanent loss. This doesn't mean you should blindly hold every investment forever. Your investments should be appropriate for your goals and risk tolerance. But if you're investing for the long term, you need to understand that volatility is part of the process. Think about it like this. If you owned a home and someone told you your house is worth $20,000 less today than it was last month, would you immediately sell it? Probably not. You probably look at the long-term value. Investing requires that same kind of perspective. So let's move on to step number 7. The $1,000 is just the beginning. Here's the most important part I want you to take away from this video. Don't obsess over your first $1,000. Focus on what happens after it. Your first $1,000 teaches you something incredibly valuable. It teaches you how to save, how to invest, how to be patient, and how to let your money work for you. Because once you understand that, you can work towards your next milestone, $5,000, $10,000, $25,000, $50,000, eventually $100,000. And the process doesn't have to be exciting. In fact, boring can be good. Save, invest, repeat. Let time do the heavy lifting. And as we close out, if you're completely new to investing, I want you to remember one thing. You don't need to know everything before you start learning. You just need to understand the basics, avoid unnecessary risks, and build good financial habits. And if you want to learn more about how your money can grow over time, check out my previous video on compound interest because it explains why starting early can be such a powerful advantage. I'm Jay, the Finance Ninja, and if this video helped you understand investing a little bit better, hit the like button. And if you want more simple videos about investing, money, side hustles, and building wealth, subscribe to the channel. We're just getting started, guys. Thank you so much. I'm Jay, the Finance Ninja, and I'll see you guys in the next one. And remember, master your money before your money masters you. All right, guys, peace.